I've lived in New Jersey my entire life. I've been a fiction writer, actor, playwright, blogger, gourmet chef, home renovator, event planner, landscape architect, and decorator. Now, I'm married to a professional drummer who is also an award-winning photographer, so the arts have always been really important to me. There are so many people in New Jersey that are involved in the arts, and I am planning to talk to all of them. Well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm inviting you to listen in. I'm Lucille Sapio, talking arts and culture, and this is Hazlitt Coffee Talk, not so famous in New Jersey. My guest today is Joe Malone, a truly unique character. Joe describes himself as an actor who is also a screenwriter, a DIY filmmaker, a singer, and beyond. My conversation with Joe goes in 1,000 different directions, from cannabis to cancel culture, to serial killers, to ageism and sexism, even bedwetting and British TV. I think you're going to enjoy this conversation as much as I did. So I'm here today with Joe Malone. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
So I know you worked for quite a while as an actor, so let's start by talking about your acting career.
You know, I started acting my junior year in high school at Leonia High School. They were casting for the play The Mouse That Roared. I think I got one of the leads, but I had no interest in acting yet. I didn't know anything. So I'm like, I'm not going to do the lead. It sounded nerve-wracking, first of all. So I'm like, I'll take a smaller role of like Will Tatum or whatever. So I was supposed to just kind of come on stage at one point and do something very simple. But I Rapunzeled on stage and got a huge laugh from the audience. And it sounds corny, but I was hooked. It was like, it just kind of went off in my head, like, this is what I want to do.
You kind of got addicted to that rush of adrenaline,
right,
of the audience responding to you.
Right. And I thought I could do it well. Like, even though I was just hamming it up, I learned later as an actor I did what you're not supposed to do, right? Yeah. Anyway, so that's where I started, and then I was acting. At first I went to USC, University of Southern California, for one semester. I didn't last long there, but I did a little acting there. Then I came to NYU, and I started acting. I got a lead right away. I was in The Mad Woman of Chaillot. I was in Skin of Our Teeth. So then now I'm acting proper, and also at NYU there's all these student films, this and that. I always dislike the audition process.
Does any actor like the audition process?
Well, right, but I have, and I'm sure a lot of actors are like this too, maybe most, but I have like pre-social kind of anxieties. I then went to California right after college. And at first, again, I got a play called Testing Negative. So I did that, and I got a good agency called Progressive Artists, which at the time were the agency of record for Mickey Rourke. What happens is initially they send you out on a flurry of calls.
Yeah.
Again, I was nervous during the audition process. I always had low self-esteem with that. I sucked. I did so bad there, and it hurt my feelings. They didn't drop me, but they stopped sending me out.
They didn't push you, yeah.
Really quickly. Like a flurry the first 2 weeks, and then that was it. And then they did drop me. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I remember that I had made my own movies at NYU and cast myself. So after the California thing, I came back to New York. And so I already started this kind of, now I call it DIY. And so that's when I started to go down that road.
You wrote screenplays?
Eventually I did. I have written 2 feature film screenplays. The initial stuff, the movies, were short films. And the first thing I did, which is also DIY, but it's not quite acting, is I started with my friend something called Chowtime Video Review on public access television in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And it's where we reviewed movies. But we did it with a comedic little stand. We'd have some sketches like Saturday Night Live or Second City. But then basically, yes, I wrote a screenplay called The Man and decided to film it myself on what was then the top end analog high 8.
Woo!
Well, I don't know. People it still shred me, meaning put me down or bust my chops, or certainly until recently, because a lot of times they're like, well, why are you doing this? I guess you like doing this, right? Because I've had almost no audience, Although eventually now I kind of have an audience a little bit because I made a documentary called First Call about people who drink in Manhattan in the morning. That was a black and white feature film documentary. And for some reason that suddenly got popular on YouTube years later, a little bit. Like it's got 755,000 views. I have 2,000 subscribers. It's all because of this.
Now, you said one of your favorite quotes was, I make movies that no one sees and music that no one listens to.
Right.
So how do you remain gratified if that's in fact true?
Well, the irony is it's slightly not as true now because when I said that, I had like 50 subscribers, I mean, I'm realistic. No one knows who I am still. It's just one movie.
Now, you and I we're alike in a lot of different ways. We're both creative. We're both actors, writers. But we have something about us that's maybe a little uncomfortable. If you don't want to talk about it.
I like honesty.
Okay. Bedwetting.
Oh, shit. All right, what the heck?
We were both bedwetters.
Yeah, okay.
I am admitting
I
that.
can't remember. I guess I already admitted that.
You did.
Yeah.
We shared that.
Good for you.
That was
I
an
mean,
intimate
I'm
thing
glad
that
for
we
you.
shared. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. Till my first month of my 14th birthday.
So do you think that problem impacted the rest of your life? Or what impact did it have on the rest of your life?
If anything, I think it empowered me. So there was a TV movie called The Loneliest Runner. Michael Landon.
Michael Landon? Okay.
Right. He was a bedwetter, and he was very outspoken about it. So he did this TV movie, which is about him. His mom used to hang out the wet sheets. Every time he'd wet his bed,
everybody could see it.
everyone on the school bus. So he had to learn to run home and beat the bus. My parents were so not like that. They were very permissive and cool. So I felt empowered because, A, I do sleepovers anyway. And I'd be a little manipulative. Like, I'd switch my wet sheets with my friend's younger brother. And then finally, like, I remember one time there was a torturous, terrible counselor who had the sleeping bag up. Who wet their bed in front of all the kids? And I'll never forget. I quick like this said, I'm busted. They're all going to know my sleeping bag, even my friend. So I go, that was me. You scared the crap out of us last night pretending to be a bear because they were shaking on the thing pretending to be a bear. And everyone started laughing, but not at me.
Yeah.
Because they were all scared of the bear, too.
Yeah.
So I remember I flipped that, like from pure abuse.
So you learned how to overcome.
Right. So it empowered me. But you outed yourself, too.
True. I haven't told other people this. So this
Oh.
is, I'm outing myself here. I actually feel like I had PTSD for years. Because I got to say, up until just a couple of years ago, whenever I went to the bathroom, I had to go, am I sleeping? Am I awake?
When did you stop?
Probably about the same time as you, about
First
14,
one.
15, yeah.
Okay. Were your parents mean about it?
My parents weren't mean about it, but, it was embarrassing. My mother would be upset about it, and I had a rubber sheet under the regular sheet, and I would, bribe my sister not to tell my mother if I did.
You weren't with boys yet, right? Like sleeping over or
no.
making,
At
At that
14?
age, right? Well, I don't know. Not a sleepover.
What do you think, I'm a slut?
Hey, you.
Let's get back to acting.
Now that you've traumatized
now that
me,
I've
I think
traumatized you. What are some of your favorite movies?
The
Let me ask you this way.
Graduate.
Your favorite movies that you would like to have that part in one of those movies?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So The Graduate?
Yeah, that was a big one because of Benjamin Braddock, that idea of coming of age and not knowing what you're going to do, being very passive aggressive, but looking for a passion I just love that movie. Mike Nichols is phenomenally directed. The soundtrack, first time ever that they used like rock and roll.
Right, not like made up music.
Yeah. Now we're used to that, but
Yeah.
that might have been the first film. Saturday Night Fever. Again, an underrated movie. To me, that's like a Greek tragedy. He wants to make it in Manhattan. He likes the girlfriend, get away from where he grew up. He's bigger than that. Anyway, I love that movie. And the music and the star-making performance.
Well, you know what I don't like about that movie?
The female lead.
No. This actually came out when disco was big. Whenever you have a movie about a time period or a genre that you were a part of, you know what's wrong with it. He was supposed to be this incredible dancer, and it's like, he's not.
Right.
Not by the standards at that time.
Right. I don't know if movies aren't meant to capture the reality of the time. Documentaries are. But I see your point.
So we have The Graduate.
And Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night Fever.
A third one would be At Close Range.
And what part in that would you want to have?
Sean Penn's part, I guess. Because it's technically based on Joe Callinger, who...
Oh! My favorite serial killer.
You know about him.
Are you kidding?
He also used to steal farming equipment. By the way, he had the worst murder in Leonia, where I grew up.
He killed his own son.
I know.
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah.
did he?
Oh, yeah.
He made his son go with him.
Yes, one
His
of
son
his...
had the baseball
and
bat.
killed the other son.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
How'd you know about it?
I love
You read
serial
true
killers.
crime. Me
I
too.
love serial
Me too.
killers. I mean, I don't love them. I mean, I
Right,
love
you
reading
study
about
them.
serial
Me
killers.
too.
Yeah. That's why, sometimes, I'll meet somebody and go, that person's a potential serial killer.
You think you're
don't
right?
take a ride
You have
with
a
him.
good instinct?
I don't know, but I'm going to trust it. If I think someone is a potential serial killer, I'm going to... I mean, like, I read all those books.
They're very rare, though. You might not have ever met one.
No, I know.
If you went to enough clubs and all, you've
I
probably
met one.
I don't know if you met.
I probably dated one. Anne Rule is she writes a lot of books about serial
she's prolific.
Yeah.
Like
Stephen King.
She's still good.
Ted Bundy.
I know.
mean, she worked.
Suicide Hotline.
Right. She sat
You'd
right
walk
next
her to
to
the
him.
parking
The
lot.
stranger beside me.
And she liked him.
Yeah.
She
Well,
admitted
I
it.
mean, most serial killers probably are likable. That's how they get their victims
That's why they're
easily.
successful.
Yeah.
And they don't get caught for a while.
Yeah. It's so funny that you mentioned
Although
Joseph
I'm surprised
Callinger.
he's one of your favorite. I mean,
Well,
I know
he's my
yeah.
he's my favorite in a macabre sense. Like
My
he is
sense
the most
is your
macabre.
favorite is Bundy.
No. Joseph
Eileen
Callinger.
Warnes. She's the one who was a hooker, a prostitute in Florida.
She was
freebase,
killing
killed
her
a lot of
Johns.
her Johns.
Yeah.
She only would kill the ones who try to rape her or abuse her.
Yeah.
And normally you'd be like, come on, but you killed like 7 or 8. But down there, I don't know. Maybe it's true.
Well, here's
she might be like Dexter.
Well,
or
ooh,
she's,
I love Dexter.
I never saw that show.
So if you had to pick 3 people who have really influenced you, who would they be and why?
Jim Morrison of The Doors, because of the eclectic nature within him, to be really dark and want to embrace hedonism and almost shamanistic in terms of, fearless, but at the same time extremely intelligent and kind of sensitive and poetic and lyrical. And I love The Doors, but him in particular because of his personality. Another might be Paul Newman. Loved him as an actor.
Yeah.
Kind of a strange underdog quality where he was cynical and hopeful at the same time.
Yeah.
The camera loved him. He's gorgeous,
Yeah.
I mean,
And very socially responsible, too.
oh, yeah. Very socially responsible. Managed to stay married in Hollywood for all those years. They stayed together. He lived outside of Hollywood in Connecticut. And he lived a nice long time. And you get props for this. I don't want to sound shallow, but he managed to be gorgeous the whole time.
Yeah.
But even at 80.
People say that women age poorly, but when I look around now, I'm having my 50th class reunion.
Wow.
Some of the guys are like scary looking. I'm not kidding you. But more of the women look good than men.
Right.
I used to think Omar Sharif, gorgeous. He did not age
Right.
well at all.
The media in Hollywood are very
Right.
tough on women. First of all, even a woman with white hair or gray hair, it's like, yeah. So a lot of that is just the kind of sexism, or maybe you'd call it ageism.
Do you watch a lot of English or Australian television?
I don't. My wife, Patty, does.
If you start watching them, you'll notice all of the actors and actresses aren't gorgeous.
Good.
In
That's
our
real life.
in our television, in our movies,
Yeah.
everybody
I hate that.
is beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
the movie The Help.
Yeah.
The main character in that is not supposed to be attractive, and they picked this gorgeous actress to play her. I'm
Who,
like,
do you know?
I don't even remember. The whole point is that she's not very attractive,
Right,
and that's
right.
why her parents are pushing her to marry
Pisses me off.
whomever because
Right.
they figure she's never going to find a husband. She's beautiful. If that movie was made in England,
Right.
she would have had no chin. She would have had
She might be
close-set
sexy.
eyes. Yeah.
Right.
No, but even not sexy. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, British and Australians and probably Europeans in
agree.
general will take actors simply for their skill, not because they look gorgeous.
Right.
You
I
watch,
agree with you.
You watch something that's made here. Everybody is incredibly pretty.
And that messes
the men and
people
the
up
women.
because then
Yeah.
the women watching it are the young girls or
Yeah,
the
you
teenagers.
figure that's
like,
normal.
you
What's
have
wrong
to-
with me? Yeah.
I remember the movie Dogfight with River Phoenix and Lily Taylor. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you know her as an actress, but the whole point was guys pick the ugliest women before going away in the army and to go to this ball. And the girls are all happy they're going to a ball, but the idea is the winner brings the ugliest broad.
girl, yeah.
And guess what? In Hollywood, they had Lily Taylor play she's pretty.
Yeah.
So even when they're going for what physically would be a dog, they have to cast someone who's
Somebody that's
actually
pretty,
you
yeah.
know. I agree with you. And I feel that women do, in this sense, you guys get a harder curveball than us.
Yeah. Well, like even if you look at, and I do this now, I can't help it. And yeah, I'm a feminist, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you are?
Of course. You watch a movie, and then you watch the credits, and if you can find 5 female names in there, they're probably costumes.
Well, that's changing, though. Now
Casting,
they're all
yeah.
directors. I
Well,
mean, right now, it's
not
a
all.
year ago.
Yeah.
They're probably women of color directors.
Right.
now.
You always see all the key grip, the photographer, everything.
Men.
Every once in a while, casting would be a woman, costuming would be a woman.
Right.
Like all the little
Stylist.
the girl things
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
women.
right.
yes, we're used to it. Doesn't mean we like it.
And doesn't mean it's fair.
Right.
You'd imagine there'd be 50-50 directors
Right.
and 50-50 stories.
Right.
But there's not.
Right.
Although that seems to be changing.
Well,
although
it's changing, but it's
in a
not.
weird way.
Yeah.
And it seems to be along race lines plus male or female.
Both women and minorities have been left out.
True. Hopefully someday it'll be more of a blind eye and it'll be based on talent. But I understand there needs to be radical change to get there because of systematic racism, systematic sexism, even things people don't talk about much, systematic ageism. Someone like me, based on my age, and at the moment, because I happen to be a white guy, I mean, honestly.
Come on. White guys still have it easier than everybody else in the world.
I guess that's fair. No, but you're right. But less so.
Ooh.
Hollywood's not interested
So you don't
in
get
the Joje.
you don't get 90% of the jobs. You only get 80%
right.
of them.
When you're already 54 and morbidly obese, that's it. Anyway, by the way, I do love the new Steven Spielberg trailer for West Side Story. I never saw the original. Yeah. So are you interested in the Spielberg, or do you think it's blasphemy?
I didn't even know that he was doing it.
He's remaking it.
Oh.
And it's not note for note, but he's remaking it.
That might bother me. Yeah.
And by the way, I think going into it is a whole other subject. It's courageous of him in the sense that with cancel culture now.
And I'm sorry, cancel culture is a made-up thing.
So you think it doesn't exist?
Not really. I mean,
are you happy there are people fighting back? I mean, you think they're trying to put a negative connotation on progress?
I think people that complain about cancel culture are just mad because they don't have the privileges that they had before. So now all of a sudden, they had always had the best seats, the best this, the best that. Now all of a sudden, it's like, no. And they're like, oh, cancel culture.
No, but what about like Al Franken? Or I don't know what your opinion about Cuomo is.
Oh, I think Cuomo was a dirtbag.
How about Al Franken?
I loved Al Franken. Al Franken.
You think he got a raw deal?
Oh, he absolutely did. If you
look cancel culture.
Calling it cancel culture is minimizing what goes on. What happened with Al Franken was a hit job by the right. The woman that brought that up, she was an operative for the Republican Party. She made up a lot of stuff.
Right. That's what I think. Yeah, by the way, I think about Cuomo too, maybe.
Nah, Cuomo.
I mean, I know he's entitled. I get that.
But
and that needs to slowly change too. But is it criminal? Should you be thrown out of office? He's just done what every strong white man.
Then maybe they should all be thrown out of office. I mean, I'm sorry.
All right.
Al Franken, it was one person making one accusation. Cuomo, dozens of women making accusations. And he didn't even say he didn't do it. Oh, things have changed since I grew up. Like he was like trying to make an excuse like, well, this is the way men acted in the past. Well, yes, and white people used to hang blacks in the past. It doesn't mean it's okay to do it.
Right.
So just like using that as an excuse is just BS in my opinion.
I hear you.
Now, I don't want to insult you.
Oh, boy.
But like me, your singing is probably never going to get you on Star Search.
God bless.
But you exude confidence.
Right.
Where do you draw that from with your singing?
Well, my attitude with that, by the way, is it is a kind of a self-expression thing. I like singing. But also, I really am trying to tap into, but like these guys and women with an attitude who aren't necessarily good singers. Lou Reed, Iggy Pop. It's almost more about persona.
How would you describe your music?
Midlife crisis. No, seriously. Midlife crisis, older rockin' person. This is my attitude. One thing I do feel. That these music companies to this day, they're forgetting an audience. They're always like young people buy content, right? Yeah. Young people buy streams. Young people buy iTunes. Young people are blowing up Spotify and all this stuff. And that's fine. But there's an audience, I know this for a fact, of us in our generation that likes rock and roll, which is already a dying breed. They could appeal to that audience more. I'm kind of straight ahead. Like, I'll say in my lyrics that at my age, that's my thing, like midlife crisis. And I almost accent it more negative than it is because, I mean, I feel some of these things, there's strife can be in marriage, and I wish I could be more full-blown artist, but I love my son, and these things happen, but, like, I almost kind of go there.
Yeah. So where do you get the inspiration for your songs? From your own life?
Yeah. I mean, my friends get annoyed at me because they're like, Joe, you're funny in real life. Like, why don't you do more comedy? People used to say I should be a stand-up comic. Like, totally different than these videos.
Yeah. Which
are more dark and a little midlife crisis.
Yeah, I just listened to I Got Fired.
Right. Oh, that's good. You did your homework. Or the most recent, Chained to Your Side. Now, on the surface, that almost means in a bad marriage.
Yeah.
Chained to Your Side. But then half the song is really about, like, facing mortality and might having to face it alone if your wife doesn't love you or kicks you to the curb or something.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little piece in so that people can get an idea what I'm talking about.
With your answering smile and your floating eyes, R.I.P. Charlie as we bang on those drums all night. I'm crippled by my cane and I'm cursed for sure. Adore-me as I look absurd, sipping on Pinot Grigio all the time. With time keep on changing like chaos on the skyline. Don't wanna be a dinosaur or sleep. I think the winter mountain and youth, that's all for me, as they say, in all time. I tend to go to the dark side. I think with me, a lot of times the arts for me are cathartic. Because like in real life, I'm more funny and this and that, but then I want to do bent. Or I like At Close Range, and I like reading about Callinger. You know, I always go to this kind of dark, Freudian, that's... You know, so maybe I guess it is cathartic for me.
So this is going to be our last question, Joe.
No.
What things do you still want to do?
Just almost about everything. That's another lyric in that last song, Chained to Your Size. I say something like, I prefer the mountain and winds of youth. That's my bag. Like, I want to do everything. I want to dance. Why can't I dance? Because I'm heavy. Chris Farley danced. You know, I got white hair, so what? I can't be sexy. So I want to kind of continue everything. And then with some of these latest changes in society, I'm very interested in not pushing those envelopes, but exploring those envelopes. So now there's a lot about, and totally understandable, Me Too, and how there's been a lot of taking advantage in workplaces and other. Is it happening less now, do you think? I mean,
No,
you haven't been
I
in
don't know. I don't know if it's happening less or not. I think people are more aware of it. Guys are complaining more that they can't get away with things that they used to get away with.
Does that mean they do it less, or?
I don't know. I think maybe they're doing it less because they're afraid of losing their jobs. So that's good.
Right, but that would be like the only reason. They're not like kind of having a.
I think maybe some people are going
epiphany.
like, "Wow, I didn't even know." Yeah, I think some
some.
may have an epiphany over that. But Joe, thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you very much.
I love the arts and I love to talk, and that's why I'm talking to local artists. And if you like listening, then subscribe to my podcast. You can do it on this page, on iTunes, or anywhere you get podcasts. I'm Lucilla Sapio, and this is Hazlitt Coffee Talk.